Welcome to the February 14th Eclipse OpenJ9 community call. Add your name and affiliation if possible, so we know who's been regularly attending the call with us, and then we'll jump right into our agenda. No lightning talk this week, so I guess we're at the new user-raised issues. Looks like there's only one that's come in the last week, and there's a pull request for that already, so probably nothing to discuss there. Is there anything else in this list that needs some discussion or focus? And we'll jump back to the agenda. The 036 release, is this complete now? I think last time we said this Semru GA builds were in progress, but the OpenJ9 side was done. So is everything up and complete?
No, we're still waiting for the Semru GA builds to complete.
We have an ETA on that?
Today, if we're lucky.
Okay.
Soon. Even if the builds are completed today, it may take a couple of days to get them live and the website updates. They'll be on GitHub. They may go up to GitHub today. At least some of them.
Okay. And that brings us to Java 19. Last week we talked about doing the proceeding with the M1 build, given that the issue we had been waiting for was resolved. Did we proceed with that build?
No, because we're not done with the 036 builds.
Queued 036 builds.
I also wanted to check with Daryl and Toby about whether they were okay to do that. Daryl responded, but I don't think I got a response from Toby.
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
So we were wondering about doing an M1 build for Java 19, and if you were okay with that, considering the issues that are remaining.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with it. Yeah, that's the short answer.
Okay, so then let's take a look at what we have remaining in our milestone plan. 9 items again. I wanted to ask about the 3 bottom ones actually, because they seemed fairly new that we are changing the compile targets.
Yeah, so they're all things that should go pretty smoothly as long as we have the compilers already installed, which I believe we do. So they've all gone through some amount of testing on the open source machines. So I'm hoping we can just slip these in before we start the Milestone 1 builds. Of course, if they cause any problems, we just won't do them.
Is this to match what OpenJDK is doing?
Yes, it matches OpenJDK.
Okay, so we would just happen to be remiss in doing this and caught it before. Is that the case?
Yeah, there's various things blocking these. But some of the blockers are resolved. The AIX one, I guess, is different. Is it different? No, I think even the AIX one is the same as OpenJDK. But we're compiling on AIX 7.1, but that's out of support pretty soon. So basically, we're waiting for 036 to finish so we can change these.
Sounds good. Then why don't we start at the top of the list and work our way down? Jack, is there an update on the holds lock?
Yes, Dan. So I was able to reproduce the failure locally with my Windows machine. The issue is that we're seeing the, if you click on it, at the very bottom, I have an update today. So In the test code, what they did was they called get all thread IDs, and they proceeded with for each thread ID they called get thread info. The problem here is that in between the two Java API calls, threads may be exiting, and in this particular case, the C generator thread was being exited, which is why we're seeing this failure. I'm not sure if this is machine specific, as this is most commonly seen with Windows 11. I haven't been able to reproduce it on Windows 2016. I feel the test here itself is missing some level of try-catch on handling errors, as the specification indicated that it's possible for get thread info to return null if the ID is already exited. In our particular case here, I don't know if we're only getting this very intermittently. It's due to the fact that the C generator thread shouldn't normally exit like this, or we're not expecting it to exit like this.
Sorry, is there anything in the test that prevents it from exiting or is intended to
No.
prevent it from exiting?
Well, the test basically assumes that nothing would be exiting during this stage, which isn't the case here.
Do you have a link to the particular test code in this issue?
I don't think so.
That would be a good link to get in here.
It would be like if you look at the name of the test that's failing,
I can
like
share the
Java lang
link
thread
in
virtual.
the chat. Dan, I just shared the link in there. Yeah.
So I will take a look at this after the call and see if I can see anything, because otherwise it might be the next step is to propose a change to the test to OpenJDK if this is truly a test issue.
Have we tried to duplicate it with an Adoptium build?
Sorry?
Have we tried to duplicate the failure with an Adoptium build?
I were able to reproduce it on nightly builds. I haven't tried using Adoptium directly.
Is that would be a good indication that it's not an OpenJ9 problem if it also happens with an Adoptium build?
I don't know if we will be able to reproduce it though, because what thread gets exited really is depending on VM implementation. I'm not sure if C generator normally exit this late. So it is possible that we just delayed the exit of that thread and OpenJDK didn't. So they've never seen the problem with this.
Were you delaying the exit on purpose?
No. We don't have any code to delay it on purpose. It's just one thing that I didn't expect was that there's so many C generator threads.
I think this is probably one we should continue looking at after the call, just given limited time.
Yep.
The next one, the humongous stack.java.
Yeah, so for that one, I think it's separate from the previous one that we've closed, the invalid return address. It shows the same problem, but it's only for PPC and Arch64. I was able to reproduce it with a nightly build. I'm currently investigating the core files that I got to see how is this being triggered.
The pin-a-lot failure?
Still a problem. I haven't been able to reproduce it to kind of get our teeth into it. Need to, even though it is relatively easy to reproduce in the builds on one platform or another, it shows up every so often. But yeah, still just trying to get a failure artifact out of that test that we can dig into.
So when you're trying to reproduce it, are you running the large group like Java?
Yeah, I saw your
lang
comment,
one?
Pete. Yeah, I'll have to try that next to see if I have better luck at that. Haven't got to that yet.
There's quite a few tests that only fail when you run the entire group, not the individual test.
Right.
And unfortunately, that just means it takes longer to reproduce it, but
yeah,
it's the only way you can.
Vector int 512 vector tests issue. The status on that.
I don't have status on that. I know Gita's it's on her list. I suspect there hasn't been much update on that. Actually, there's been 24 comments though. Sorry, I don't know the latest on that.
Looks like it is definitely being looked at. So,
Raheel, are you on the call? Okay.
I'm assuming this is not going to block a release since it's an incubator feature. Like if everything else is resolved and we still have this, we'll push it forward.
It's not a blocker.
the Skynet fails on larger machines.
Hi. The problem have been identified for the GC synchronization problem. So their fix have been created. Is right now it's under code review.
Good to hear. And I guess the last one then is the double 128 vector test seg fault.
So that one is new. I think it was open last week. Okay, yeah, Dimitri has taken a look.
Yeah, I just put comments there. I just bogus frame and all slot, bogus value in all slot and JIT frame.
Yeah, so I tagged it as GC. I'm not. Yeah, okay. So Dimitri's added it there. Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure it was GC. I only put GC because of where it failed. But if you look at the frame above, there's thunk tuple. The comment before this, I think, yeah, which usually indicates a method handle related issue. But I think Dimitri has already made a statement to that effect.
I thought thunk tuples were only used in the OpenJ9 version of method handle code.
Yeah, this is a that's just a red herring. There's an issue. We've seen that in many cases before, where the backtrace is not right. The symbols aren't right.
Yeah, massive offset, and it's just the closest symbol it could find. Okay.
In any case, we'll ask Gita to have a look at that.
Okay, so it sounds like we're getting closer and closer to being ready to ship a 19. So then I guess the question is, where are we at with 20? Do we have a working up-to-date 20 build at this point?
We're blocked importing the latest OpenJDK levels. So we moved up to, I think it might have been plus 31, and then now we're stuck there until we get the ability to import new levels again.
Did we have an infrastructure failure? Oh yeah, somebody mentioned last week that the internal machines for this were
tired. So we were trying to build a new machine that can do the job, but it's not working yet. And I guess there was problems getting it working, so it's taking longer than it should. So ran all the normal test suites and opened issues for the problems that I saw. So some of them were being looked at.
All right, so the fact that we're just over a month away from the GA date for that, sounds like we're not going to get 20 out the door on time either.
So in the user guide, we predicted a June date, just for lack of knowing when it would be ready. So we would ship 037 would be Java 19, 038 would be the April quarterly update, and then hopefully 039 would be Java 20, but we'll have to see where we're at as we get closer.
Okay.
But we also have Cheng working on some of the FFI stuff, so we could ask him how that's going. Cheng, are you there?
Yeah. I'm currently still working on the GTK 20 in terms of code changes on OpenGTK and OpenG9. So pretty much finished changes on OpenGTK and start working on OpenG9.
Anything else we want?
I believe OpenJDK has now released their release candidate 1.
Yeah.
So once we're able to update to the latest, there shouldn't be a whole lot of changes coming after that.
Anything else we want to touch on for Java 20?
There was the structured concurrency.
As far as I know, that's still an incubator. So
Yeah, second incubator. So we'll work on it, but it won't block Java 20, I guess. And then we have the second preview of virtual threads, but I didn't see a whole lot of new failures. Maybe we'll be in pretty good shape if we get the FFI stuff going.
be great. We have an adopt update. So we'll skip over that. Adam, is there an update on the infrastructure? It's not on the call this week. Don't see Marius, so I assume no update on JIT server. MicroJIT meeting must be pushed ahead by 2 weeks. It's the usual schedule, right? So the 23rd. Toby, is there an update on CRIU support?
Nothing major to discuss. We're probably going to branch for another EA this week, just so that we can make the latest changes we've had available for the last couple months, or since late December available. We're working on releasing UBI 8 image. Right now, I think it's just we need to set the infrastructure to build on RHEL, RHEL 8.6 and above. So that's the only thing delaying it at this point.
Is there an update on the Mac M1 work?
Nothing this week.
Any other business we want to tackle this week? Then the next call is February 21st. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.